Let's see how we're going.
So it's kind of a, 4th of July tradition in Michigan. You head up north, pretty much I wouldn't say every, but a large number of families. That's the goal, right? Is to buy
Get
a,
out,
buy a, buy a little place on a lake up north. Go up
get
north.
out of town. And what's the swimming like up there?
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's a muck bottom lake, typical of Michigan. But we've dumped
Does
a
that
ton of
mean
sand.
does that mean it's quite soft in the bottom?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because of all the leaves that fall in. That's really kind of Great Lakes, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same up here, right? So a lot of so it's usually
Yeah.
quite nice, cool water.
Yep.
But
Spring
yeah,
fed. Yep.
when you put your feet on the bottom, it's a bit mushy. But anyway,
Yeah.
welcome everyone. Yeah, we just got a couple people now, but so I've invited a few folks. We'll see who shows up. We got Jeffrey L here tonight, so excited about that. And we've been kind of checking in with each other over the last couple of weeks about I guess there was the what's the actual name of the record fair there that you went to, Jeff? Is it the one that I thought I was going to be able to make when I came to Detroit? What was the name of it?
They call it the Ann Arbor Monster Record Show.
Monster Record Show.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was a Detroit one that I was. Well,
Yeah.
why don't we? Well, hang on. Let me say a couple more words about kind of what I was hoping to talk about today, and then maybe we can kind of intersperse that with, depending on who else is out there, intersperse that with chat about the monster, the Ann Arbor Monster Records Show.
Yeah.
And I know you probably got a couple albums you want to show, and I got some stuff here. I reached out to Paul. I think Paul's got a concert tonight, so I'm not sure. Maybe he'll join later, depending on if we it's already 9:00. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I kind of, what I wanted to talk about a little bit, maybe we'll see if we can get a conversation going, is this kind of the issue of kind of record stores. And this is something that I've been kind of struggling with. You and we haven't had a chance to talk about this, but I've been talking to a few other kind of friends, some online friends and some in-person friends, some folks that I go record shopping with. And that is kind of the particularly for jazz record collectors. Maybe it's not just jazz record collectors, but maybe for collectors, I feel like it would be interesting to have a conversation about the record stores that really focus on collectible records, right? And we can maybe we'll restrict that to kind of jazz records, and when we start there. And so when I was kind of emailing around some friends and see who wanted to kind of have a chat about it, do a recorded video or do a live video like what we're doing tonight, I was kind of pitching this idea, right, about, and the word I was using, I can't remember what I said to you, Jeff, but the word I was using was like difficult record shops. And a friend of mine kind of, on Instagram texted me back and said, like, what do you mean, Greg? What do you mean by difficult record shops? And I guess what I guess this kind of goes back. Let me do a little bit of a backfill, and then maybe you can jump in, Jeff. But so a couple of years back, a number of years back, I'm going to say like a couple of years before COVID hit, I was over in London, and I was checking out a few stores. And anyway, I don't want to plug my other videos too much, but if people are interested, I've done a couple of videos on London record stores. But anyway, I was heading to this particular record store and Jeff and I had a chat about one in Detroit. There's also one here in Toronto. That's really, a lot of people know that it has like old collectible, right? Like 50s, 60s, Blue Notes, original jazz records, right? And so so this one record store, and I'm even hesitating talking about the name, but maybe that's part of what I want to talk about, right? Is how do we how do Trevor's already like, yeah, he's like going there. uh but yeah, we'll get to Cosmos, right? But yeah, like, so there's in Toronto, the place to go, and everyone that kind of has come through Toronto, or people who collect like you and I, jazz records like you and I do, Jeff, kind of know about Cosmos. So anyway, there's one in London that actually was connected to Cosmos. I didn't even know. Have you been to the Cosmos here in town, Jeff?
No,
No, you haven't, huh? Anyway,
no, I haven't been to
so
Toronto since the 90s.
anyway, so the store in London, I kind of show up because I've heard that, this is a place where you look on Instagram and it's got the wall, right? It's got a wall with all these collectibles. They post what they have, all these collectibles, on like Thursday, saying this is what we're putting out on a Friday. And I show up, and kind of everything's gone, right? Like, it's like Friday at 7 p.m. and all the stuff that kind of I was, Donald Birds and stuff like that I was kind of interested in picking up, is all gone. And so anyway, so I kind of posted a comment on there. I don't know if you do this on the Google Maps, when you click on the stores, and there are Google reviews, and I find there generally people are really positive, right? Because we're collecting records. People don't want to dump on independent stores, and that's not what I want to do tonight either. That's not kind of why I'm bringing this up. But so I'm kind of struggling with how do you talk about these stores, because you want to be supportive, you want to go there. They do have a lot of great records, but the problem is you arrive there and the records are like 30% and above the very top of Discogs, right? Like, they are sometimes even more than that, right? They're really outpriced when you're looking, if you're using Discogs as kind of and a lot of people do, right, Jeff? Right? So I posted a review saying, look, they've got really great stuff. This is in a nice neighborhood, but the prices are like well above the top end of Discogs. And the owners replied and were really quite pissed, right? They kind of posted a kind of like a really kind of in your face, like, you're really whingy, and started kind of calling me names and things like that,
Well,
and
they're
this is
sensitive about it, though.
oh, they were really
They
sensitive. And
know.
this yeah, and
They
this
know what they're doing.
yeah, yeah, that's a great point. They know what they're doing. Like, they know what they're doing way more than you and I know what we're talking
Yeah,
about,
they
right? Because
understand the
they're
value
running
of it.
they're running a business, right? But they were really in the face and were calling me names and things like that. And this was after I said, well, I recommend going there, right? But their prices are kind of higher than, I think I was trying to be diplomatic about it, right? But then it kind of went after me, and so I kind of replied and said, okay, everyone, I'm not recommending this shop. Anyway, so that's a very long-winded story, but that's kind of, I just kind of, after I had that experience, actually, sorry, one last point that they said to me. They said, well, Greg, the reason why we charge these prices is because they're rare records, and if you go online to buy what these rare records, you're gonna pay whatever,
Yep.
5, 10, $20 to ship it, depending on what it is. So, and that really pushed my buttons. I'm like, dude, sound like, I flew across the Atlantic. I'm in your store, and you're telling me your prices are high in your store, right? For your customers in your store, because you're pricing your records based on what you would pay to have it shipped. Oh yeah, sorry. All right, sorry to hear that. Anyway, not to get into that. I think maybe Paul, you got the same thing that I got. It's going around in Toronto, Jeff. Paul
It's
and I
all
were,
over again.
yeah, Paul and I were supposed to hang out, and then I couldn't make it because I got the thing that the bug that obviously he got too. Anyway, so getting back to the story, so yeah, so they were basically kind of factoring in, the cost of shipping something, even though that I was at the store. Anyway, very long-winded story, but
There's per- was that really it though, or were they just grasping? I mean, you called them out on it, and
I,
but at the same time, obviously people are paying the prices, or they wouldn't be pricing them like that because they've got to sell the records to make their bills.
well, yeah, that's a good point. So anyway, so that's kind of what got me thinking, like, what's going on with all these stores,
It's
and
discount.
but you're right, and kind of that's what they came back to me too. It's like, well, you answered the question yourself. These are rare records, Greg. Like, and we're asking a price for these kind of rare records, and like whatever you say, cha cha cha. This is kind of this is our business, right? So I kind of felt bad. Well, I didn't kind of feel bad. I did feel bad for calling them out, but at the same time, it kind of made me kind of think about, what, who those record stores are for, right?
Well,
And so
exactly.
maybe we'll bring about down to Detroit over to you, because you and I had a chat, and tell me if you don't want to name the store, right? I'm okay, because it's awkward, right? Because we show up at these stores.
Oh, I don't care.
Um,
I'll
but
name them.
so the Detroit Record Club, you and I talked about that. A newer place, yeah, friendly folks. And again, I don't want to dump on these folks at all. But it's a different store, right, Jeff? Did you end up going there yet, or
No,
no?
no. I'll be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's about the market, right? On these stores, and I'm not that person, because there's
Their
obviously
market, their
there's
market,
obviously
though.
a
Yeah,
level of collector, and it's all about your income level, right? If you're willing to pay for the pristine OG blue notes, these shops are going to charge. Now they don't all do that, but
yeah,
certain ones do, and that's kind of the cachet of going in there. There's a running discussion that's going through the Jazz Bums Discord the last 4 or 5 months, buying online versus buying in a shop,
yeah,
and there's two camps on it, and it's the same thing. There's people who they don't the way they grew up with the internet. They're typically younger than me, and
yep.
for them buying online, they'll pay the extra money for the convenience factor and to
Hmm.
buy exactly what they want. And that's not how I collect. I like to go
Yeah,
into
yeah. I
that
think
big
you
sprawling
and
used
you and I are the
records,
same. Yeah, and you dig, right? And
and
yeah,
I dig, and whatever I find that it comes home with me, or it doesn't.
yeah,
But when it comes to those shops, I typically stay out of them. I'm not ready to step up to that level of buying yet. Not to
yeah.
not I've got other financial, believe me, once my finances change a little bit and I get rid of some kids and get them out of
Sure.
college and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, I might start going after some of the OG.
But by then, how much are things going to be?
They're going to be ridiculous. So what I've been doing is I've been actually scooping up 70s blue notes right
Yeah.
now,
I think everyone's gone that direction. Yeah.
and a lot of
And
prestige and a lot of Riverside, and I'm just going to sit on them.
so so if we use that store in Detroit, or Cosmos here, and Trevor pointed that out too. I don't think we've met Trevor before. Anyway, but like, who is going? Is it people with a lot of money who are impatient, or who, I don't know, some of these prices, right? You go in there and you look, and they're it's not that they're just expensive LPs, or they're like OG expensive LPs. I think for me, it's these kind of collector stores, right? That have, if you go in there, they have the shit, right? They have
Oh,
a
yeah.
ton of OGs. They've got, like the New York addresses and, the runouts and all that kind of stuff, right? But they're just charging considerably more than even what you would find online. So I see your point about, and I agree. There's definitely a debate to have in different styles of collecting, and I'm definitely more in a kind of your camp too. I think it's also a geographic thing too, right?
Exactly.
But my sense too is that, and yeah, and probably you and I are talking about this because we have these stores all around us, right?
Right. We
and
live
and
in,
and, and the wax said that to me a couple times over the last few weeks.
yeah, I mean, I live next to one of the founding cities of jazz, I mean,
Yeah. But 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 yeah, I guess for me, so I'm the same as you, right? So we had a chat about this store that has, some of the best, if not the best, kind of collectible LPs, but you don't go there. I find that really strange, and it's the same thing for me for Cosmos. And so this Cosmos Records is kind of was always already brought up um, by Trevor here. Are you in Toronto, Trevor? um, so Cosmos is a Toronto store. They have two stores downtown. One's on Queen Street. One's just around the corner. Um, and and again, a lot of people have very good things to say about the record store, and they do have a section when you walk in. There's like four or five bins, and you can find stuff under,
but that's
right, Trevor? You can find stuff there under $30. I think some of it's maybe slightly overpriced, but they're not expensive LPs, is what I'm saying, right? Um,
yeah. I mean, I would go into those with the holy moly walls like that if I needed to dig in the normal, the bins for the normies.
yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
have to. I mean, so as soon as a store like that gets a rep in Detroit, I just don't go because I don't have to. Because
Yeah, that no, that no,
there's plenty of
that's
stores that don't do that.
you're right, and I guess that's what I'm saying too. And I don't go down there. The only time I go down there, and this is probably a store that literally is like um half a mile down from my house, right?
Oh, I don't know
Um,
if I could resist that.
well, I think I put like on Google Maps. I put, and I think I've used this phrase a couple times on a few reviews. I do like to leave, and again, constructive reviews, but like not
Right.
bitchy, obnoxious reviews or negative reviews, right? Mean reviews. That's not my vibe. That's not my thing. But but I think what I put there um was that I kind of see it as like a museum, because there's just all this stuff there, and it's like wow, and you can kind of look at it, and they do have a couple turntables in there, so you could play stuff and see and listen to the quality of some top
Are they willing to
releases, right?
move on their top end, or is it top end or nothing?
I think it's, we did talk about kind of the cash economy, right? And Toronto is not nowhere near the kind of cash economy that you have in many US big cities. Not, I know it's the same even. Did you have that
It's a
experience when you went out to LA, the West
Oh, yeah.
Coast, that it was
Oh, yeah.
you pull out
And
your
San
wallet to
Francisco too. Yeah, it's all about money. It
was
could be a cultural thing too.
I think it's a cultural thing. Here also, it's more of a, if you bring cash, then it's more they won't charge you taxes for it, right? But I think in other places, it's kind of you can kind of negotiate on sticker price, right? Um,
That's
so
usually the discount, to be honest.
yeah,
Most
yeah,
most of the time is okay, it's just under the table kind of thing,
yeah,
especially with used records because they're paying cash for them,
exactly, yeah.
right?
So anyway, yeah, it's so that store, like I said, is half a mile down the road from me, and I kind of rarely go. And when I go in there, I just kind of look to see what they have. I did used to go in there I try to do the okay, I'll get this, this $100 Coltrane, and then get this $30 thing. Be like, hey, would you take 85 for the pair? And he's like,
No,
nope.
100's a mid-price record, right?
No, I'm not. No,
You
I'm
ever
not
go
gonna.
in there and say, "Yeah, take that 1,500 down off the wall. I want to see it."
I've never done that. I've
I'll
never.
do.
Well, the
Take
stuff
that
that's on the
close press
wall
off the
is
wall.
no. I don't. I'm not even getting into the wall. Although I think people say that the walls are
I do it,
usually.
even though I'm not going to buy it. I still want to look at it.
I think Dearborn, when I was down at Dearborn Music, there was something on the wall, and you know how tall it goes there too, right?
Yeah,
You
the
know
main floor.
the main wall. It's kind of, can you pull down that that Sonny Rollins from, and then the got poor guy goes up, and 15 minutes later comes down, and I open it up, and it's just some really nasty scratch on it.
Yeah,
Anyway, so
they're not a well curated shop. They push it out in the bins.
it's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
great store. I mean, it's a great store to go dig in.
I think they were also selling something online. Was it
Yeah, they sell on
Valley
this.
was talking about? Did they have some Coltrane or something? Some OG Coltranes that they were selling? What's going on with all this? I did reach out to Aldo to see if so he might join us. Maybe I'll ping him. Last time he joined, I think he's on he's university student kind of time. So
Yeah, he's actually living. I think he's living in Detroit for the summer. He's working down there
he's a good guy. Yeah.
because I met him on Michigan State's campus at a record store.
Oh, you did? Is this a
Yeah.
secret one? Oh,
No,
Michigan State? Oh, okay.
yeah, he goes to Michigan State, and
All
so
right.
we're all it's in
Lansing.
East
Yeah.
Lansing, and I
Yeah.
live south of Lansing.
Okay.
And it was kind of funny. I was just chatting them up in the bins like you do sometimes when you're digging, and we both realized that we had been communicating on the Jazz Bums Discord for a while.
Oh, is that right? You just kind of literally struck up a conversation and figured out. Oh, that's
Yeah, I
fun.
had no
Huh?
idea who we were. Yeah,
That's totally fun. Yeah.
he's
Um.
he's got an old soul, man. Because he's like the age of my son, and
Yeah.
who has absolutely
Yeah.
no interest in this stuff. But he's also a musician. Yeah.
So that's a good segue. Hang on 2 seconds. Someone's pinging me. Um. Why don't we show a couple albums, see if other people show up, and then we can talk more about nasty record stores.
Yeah, I haven't been up on a stream probably in 6 weeks. So I got like two piles here. I've got what I just picked up at the record show, and then I've got a trip to People's Records down in Detroit. So I don't know
Cool.
what.
Well, why don't we start? I'll start with a couple like non-jazz LPs, but
Okay.
you'll appreciate this as a dad too. But so, sorry, I haven't opened this, so it's a little shiny still. Akiko Yano. So this is a late 70s, 78 reissue that just came out. I'm going to say it came out this year, 2024, on We Want Sounds. So there's a couple stories here. The main story, the reason why I'm kind of segueing off of what you said here, Jeff, is that this is the first record or CD for that matter that I bought that's recommended by one of my kids.
Oh, nice.
Has that happened?
Awesome.
Yeah, isn't that was really cool. Like, and she has really good. She's just turned 21. She's really into and she'll watch this
Our
actually.
daughters are about the same age. My daughter
Yeah,
turned 21 in November.
but so usually because she's so busy with university and whatnot that I only see her in the summer, and so she'll put on some music when we're driving, right? And so she's really into kind of singer-songwriter stuff. So this is really kind of Kate Bush like. I'm not sure if you're a Kate Bush fan.
Mm-hmm.
So let me hold that up. You Vinyl Me Please. Did you cancel your subscription, right?
No, I still have one.
Oh, you still haven't? So check it out. Again, Akiko Yano. She has, sorry everyone. She has, I'm not going to open this up yet because
is that a VMP exclusive?
So there's a VMP exclusive coming up in January, and it's a piano solo. So
Oh,
it's not for everyone. It is a little bit more jazz-ish. This one's a little bit more pop-ish. Um, but yeah, so a few stories there. But I just thought that was kind of funny. I like, because it's like we're just drilling back into our own youth and finding albums that we used to have or lost or never had. So that was really fun to kind of see that LP and to kind of jump out and buy it. So I think I will sign up for Vinyl Me Please to buy that new that re-release again. It's coming out in January. Let me show one more. Maybe I'll pull that up in a second actually and show people. This
yeah,
is
I
the
know
other
that record.
one. Oh, you do? Okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure. We haven't talked about punk stuff, so
oh,
it's
yeah.
funny. I'm not taking a pause from buying jazz, but I've just been seeing other stuff. It's not the best cover. You can
Is it
see, you
Sire
know,
then?
it's a 77. But it's not, it's okay. It's just obviously seen some love over the years. So this is it's an original Dead Boys 77. It's a Canadian original, so that's easier to get, of course, up here. You can always tell the Canadian because at the bottom. Sorry for the
So
light.
is it on Sire in Canada
It's
then?
on SAR Canada. You can't really see that; it's really small, and but it's just outside of Toronto. They was a pressing plant. Um, did you do you have that one, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep.
It's a classic, isn't it?
It is.
Uh, I think I've only had their live recording, which is maybe their third or their fourth LP that came out. That has a lot, the sonic reducer. Um, oh, this is more. So it's basically kind of a live version of this album. I think the US original goes for, what do you think? I think I pay like
60 to
20.
100.
Yeah. I think I pay like 20, 25, and the Canadian one's going for maybe more like 45, 50. I haven't played it yet, but it's minty. But so I was telling a friend the other day that I'd picked up a copy, and and uh, and I was asking him if he saw that film with Alan Rickman about CBGBs.
Oh,
Did
I've
you
seen
ever
it
see
about
that?
10 or 12 times. Yeah. I love
It's a
it.
few years back now, isn't it? Like I'm gonna say early
10 years ago,
2010s,
15. Yeah.
2013, 2014. Was that HBO put that out? Maybe I want to say. And it was
No,
kind of
it was theatrical.
it was theatrical. It was kind of cheesy. The kind of they had like
It
a
was fun
Debbie
though.
Harry character.
One of the kids from Harry Potter was the lead singer of the Dead Boys, Ron Weasley.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But it's great, right? Because when it comes to, it's almost like the end of the film,
Oh,
and
yeah, it was awesome. I mean, they
and
nailed the
these
scene.
guys.
I mean, they had the
Yeah.
Ramones, Blondie, Talking Heads,
But
television.
but it's interesting because the owner of CBGB, um, actually, yeah, uh, produced these guys. So actually, on the back of this,
Mhm.
I haven't really looked at this. So yeah, Dead Boys Management, Hilly Crystal,
Yep.
and he
Yeah,
was a
you know what
CB.
derailed them, right? The kid got stabbed.
One of the band members, you mean,
Yeah,
or?
yeah. They picked a fight and guy stabbed him. Got
I
stabbed.
just remember in the film it was kind of like that Hilly had kind of fronted them some cash to go on an American tour, and then there
Mhm.
was some periodic cutaways to debauchery, in Chicago and whatever, and I don't know how many actually, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
this
the
was
great what ifs.
yeah, exactly. So this was recorded live at CBGB's, mastered by Sterling
Mhm.
Sound, Ted Jensen. So of course, I came to all this. Let me see if you can
Classic
see that.
American punk record right there.
Yeah. So the bottom again. So I didn't know that story. I came to this. I think we're about the
That
same
was
age,
the
right?
stuff I grew up listening to.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. Right. The
If you ever want
Buzzcocks.
to do a show on OG punk records, I can pull
Oh
I think
yeah.
those
Okay.
bangers. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's chat about that because I thought about that, right? Because when I bought this, I thought, oh man, I could probably talk off my head way easier
It's
about
funny.
the dead Kennedys and whatnot rather than jazz. But
You
anyway,
talk to jazz heads like us at our age, and you'll find a lot of us listen to metal and punk as when we were kids.
and
It's
and
it is
yeah, what
interesting.
is it? Is it? And for me, like I'll put on some albums and when the kids were younger or a friend would come over or my younger brother's really still into punk. I've got some friends who are again our age and that's all they listen to or they go to shows and it's like geriatric UK subs and stuff like that and really old timers up on stage, which is fine, and I've been to some of those shows too, but I
Oh, I
noticed
still
like
go.
what I yeah I do too, but I guess my point was more that I go to that some part of my entree into jazz was also just some of the crazy shit ass energy behind some of the performances, right? For me
Mhm.
it's quite punkish in a
It might
certain
be
way.
the OG punks. I mean, it was definitely a social movement, especially the New York labels. If you really, it
Yeah.
was a reaction of the times.
Yeah, so I guess you can talk about the energy, you can talk about some of the politics behind it, right?
I just
Anyway,
prefer to
so
talk
yeah,
about it.
we should definitely do that. I need to. I'm just looking over here because there's piles of punk stuff down there that I'm kind of sorting through. But yeah, so those are kind of my non jazz purchases this week. I don't know. Do you want to show us some stuff? Well, do you want to talk a little bit about like the record show first, or?
Yeah, so there's a long running promoter in Michigan. He's been doing these shows for probably 30 plus years,
Hmm,
and he does them in 4 cities. So he
okay.
originally he was doing them in 3 when I got back into the scene. Um, and the big one, because he lives in outside Ann Arbor, is the Ann Arbor Record Show, and so it's definitely still most of the dealers are older than me. They're all it's baby boomers for the most
Yeah.
part, and so I like to go because it is the biggest record show in Michigan.
Hmm,
So it's in a hotel in Ann Arbor. It's a big ballroom, and they usually have around 40 to 50 dealers, sometimes 30s. It goes between
yeah.
30 and 50. And what I particularly like about it is the other shows around town, it's mainly rock, right? Um,
Yeah.
that's what sells. And that's what, there's a lot of younger crowd coming in now, and that's what they're going after. But with Ann Arbor, because it's a bigger show, these guys will bring their jazz. And there's also a couple guys that'll set up that primarily deal jazz records.
Okay.
And that's what I hit a guy I hadn't bought from before, and he was just sitting at a table with 2 milk crates, and he had some crazy stuff in those 2 milk crates. And I mean, I saw stuff there, like I saw a Hank Mobley. Um, what was it? Was it a Soul Station? And it was a mint Soul Station. It was $300. But it's just that was a little outside of what I wanted to spend. That was my whole budget for the show, right?
Yeah, that's usually
And so
my
you see stuff
top
like
end.
that
Yeah.
there, and
Yep.
then you go into dollar bins, and you find records for $1. So it's the whole swing.
Yep.
So I usually save up my money for it, and then I go in and I just try to buy, whatever I feel.
Hmm.
And so it's an interesting way to dig because I typically will leave a lot behind, right? So some of the stuff I left behind, like I've left behind a 6i mono Miles Davis for 150. I probably could have got it in VG
Yeah.
plus shipping because I wanted to go quantity over, but I was like, okay, if I don't find anything else, I'll come back and get it. But of
Yeah.
course, I found a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah. And it wouldn't have been there if you would have gone back for it anyway.
Oh, I think it's still there.
Yeah.
That's the thing is the jazz at these shows doesn't really sell. You talk
They
to a
don't,
lot of
huh?
the dealers and they're like, "Oh, I don't bring it," and they'll hand you a card because they just don't sell. It just doesn't sell.
Oh, they sell in Toronto. Jazz really sells. They sells for
So
the kids, right? In the
yeah,
record
so it's
stores, you
all
look
rock,
next to you
rock and
and
punk.
oh, that's
And
interesting.
usually you'll see some of the bigger dealers will have maybe 3 or 4 crates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
that's
what do you
just that.
got? What do you got? You gonna show us a
Well,
couple
you
things?
want to see the heavy hitters or the light stuff?
Well,
So this is
you
all I
choose.
bought was
You
like
choose.
right here. So this is my haul.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So I don't know. You want to do like the cheap stuff or the heavy stuff or
It's your
so
glory time.
going back to like buying records online. Here's a record that's kind of pricey online though, right? So this is a Pablo. This is one that Analog Productions is reissuing. And you're starting to see it on Discogs for like $30, 20, $30. And I got it for $5 at the record show.
Yeah.
So that's just, kind of goes back to what we were saying. If you can hold off and you're patient, this stuff, it's luck, right? It just happened to be sitting there. But I got this, and then out of a dollar bin, I got these. And I went through a lot of beat up records, but this is it's another Pablo, but this is one of the Art Tatum sessions from the 50s that I can't think of the guy who owns Verve and Pablo, Norman Granz, had in the can, and he released it on Pablo. He never did I don't think he did it on Verve, but it's an Art Tatum session. And then I got this, which is just a live Pablo.
Who's that? Sorry, who was that?
Oh, this is Milt Jackson's Big Four.
Milt. Okay.
Pablo does this. They do the Big Four.
His albums are all really cheap, but I like Milt Jackson. I love the vibes. Again, some people don't.
I love him, man. He's a
me
bluesy player, and that's my kind of jazz.
Yeah. So what year was that recorded in then? Oh yeah,
75.
Niels Peterson. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's cool.
it's got Niels Peterson, Mickey Rourke, and Oscar Peterson with Milt Jackson live at Montrose.
From 75.
Because Grant's had that house in Switzerland. So
yeah.
I'm really getting into this label.
Yeah.
So this is Steeplechase.
Yeah.
And so I found this. I think this was probably $10.
Danish, right? Steeplechase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, Archie Shepp, but this is not impulse Archie Shepp. This is not, free jazz at all. This is Archie at the end of his career going back to if Archie was playing in the 50s. So this is a blues record, blues jazz, hard bop record, and then Horace Parlan. So it's just the two of them. But it's still Archie Shepp. It's not quite as out. He's more in the pocket.
And what year is that? Trouble in Mind?
Oh, it's got to be
Shepp.
1980.
I do have that one. I haven't listened to it in a while.
Yeah, so
I started getting more into the stuff that he recorded. Well, I've got the 60s and the Impulse stuff, but I started getting into the stuff that he recorded in Japan. Have you ever picked up any of that stuff?
No, not yet.
Deanin. Those have actually really popped up in prices. If you're interested, I see them now and again. I can pick them up for you if you want.
I highly recommend
I'll text
these.
I'll text you about it.
Yeah, these right here. Been buying a lot of Steeplechase, and then I got this Steeplechase too. Okay. This is okay. It's just a live session in that club in Copenhagen. In Steeplechase.
The Moment, right?
The one where they did all the live shows.
Obviously, like the Steeplechase must have had a relationship with the owners, or they might have been the owners.
Might have been the owners.
Yeah.
This is the biggest surprise of this year for me. I don't know if you know this record.
I do not know.
You do know it?
No, I don't. No.
This is fabulous. This is a fantastic record.
Steeplechase as well.
John McNeil, yeah, he's on Steeplechase. It's absolutely fantastic. It is so good. Blew me away how good it is. This is cheap heat.
Yeah. Steeplechase are no, I don't think they're not expensive records, are they? Still.
No, like $20, 20, 30. But
Yeah.
some of them are getting up there. Like Duke Jordan's got some records that are around 40 now.
Jackie McLean, yeah.
But this record, I cannot stress it again. If you see this record, people buy it.
So what year is that? Can we show the back? Can you show the back? I don't think I've ever seen that. We get quite a few of those up here in Canada.
It is a little bit free. It's a little bit hard bop. It's a little bit modal. It was its first record as a leader. Taught a lot. I mean, look at the lineup on it. Joanne Brackeen's on it, Rufus Reed, Billy Hart, Bob Berg. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic record.
1978, right?
Yeah. Fantastic. And this is
I don't think
this is a Danish steeplechase.
Okay. Yeah, they did like an American version 78 and Denmark hasn't been reissued.
I don't know if Inner City did this one or not.
I don't
think they did. I think it's just Steeplechase.
No, it's Steeplechase US, Steeplechase Denmark, and then the CD came out in '95. Well, let's have a look. So you got the Danish one, huh? So that one is that's going for like 20. Oh well, $12 is a median.
Yeah, so this. I'll be buying all his stuff. He actually might have to buy his stuff online. That's how impressed I am with this record. So this has been constant since I bought it. I play it every day.
There we go. There it is. Sorry. Let's go. Let's get back to you. Go ahead.
So I paid I think it was probably like $5-10, something like that. And then I've been buying a lot of, I always buy OJSeez when I see them.
They sound great. Yeah.
So this session, OJ.
Yeah. I think you posted that online too, didn't you? Maybe.
I probably put it on the Discord.
I don't have it though. And who else is on it?
It's Eric Dolphy.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic record. So it's Ken McIntyre, of course, on alto and flute, and then Eric Dolphy, Walter Bishop Jr. is on piano, Sam Jones and Art Taylor. It's just a great record. And it's 252, so it's right, it's got the barcode, so it's right on the edge of maybe digital, maybe still analog. It sounds really good. Yeah. This is an expensive OJC. If you look this thing up online, this thing is expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, it's $40.
Should we do it?
Yeah, go for
Ken McIntyre. $40 for the OJC. It's expensive, huh?
I think it's because it's got Eric Dolphy on it.
Oh, is that why? Okay. Well, I haven't seen it around. Looking ahead, right? That's
Yep. It's this one right here.
Oops. Yeah.
Well, really got me is actually I said there was another one of his records there a dealer had, but it was kind of beat up. But it was actually an OG New Jazz.
So you've got an 86. That's
it's got the barcode on it.
Oh yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, they start at $38.
Yeah, so I paid $20 for that. I thought that was a fair price. Wow. And here's another one that I bought that's a real expensive OJC.
Yes,
this thing's like $40 or $60 now. I paid $20 for it.
Yeah.
And I think
I've
got
seen
it
that online.
Yeah, I think I got it for $20 because they know it's coming in the new craft series next month.
Yes. Yeah.
But I thought, I wanted it. What the heck? And then I got this.
For $20, it's probably $20 cheaper than the OJC, right? The new one.
I buy anything Jackie McLean.
Yeah, me too.
And this is a New Jazz OJC.
Mm-hmm.
Just great hard bop record.
Good score. Yeah.
And then this one. This was like 10. Look this one up online. It's crazy what this one goes for. It's, miles.
Dig Davis. Is that the title of that one? Dig
It's
Davis. I
Dig.
don't have that one. Oh, it's just
And this
Dig.
is one of the originals. Look at that. It's number 5.
Oh,
You see it's got
yeah.
the tip-on jacket. So it's all analog.
So that is probably what, like a 8? No, that's German copy. So probably that's a mono, right? 82.
Yeah. And this one here is 6. Tip-on jacket. So these are the
Yeah,
ones like the
that's in
first
really
one.
good condition. You can see it. At least the back is a little.
Someone took a price sticker off of it. It is what it is. I keep debating I've been selling these when I find like an original or a new reissue, but I've kind of been debating whether I should just try to do a run of these
A run of what do you mean? Run of what?
of OJCs. Because like lately, like when I bought that monk box from Analog Productions, I sold all my OJC monks that were in the box, and
And
I'm kind of regretting it.
now you're regretting it.
But I'm trying to only have one record, because I have too many records.
Speaking of, well, can I jump in for a little? I've only
Yeah,
got a
yeah, yeah,
few
go
here.
ahead.
I've only got like 5, but yeah, you're always setting me up really really well here because I got home and realized that I already had a copy of this Billy
Make yourself
Cobham's
big.
Total Eclipse. Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
That's a
that's
cool
really
record.
good. Yeah, it's a great record.
I never see that record clean. It's always beat up.
Super beat up. This is a Japanese version too,
Oh,
so I bought it. So I didn't feel so bad when I got back, and I thought, oh shit, I've got to. But let's have a look here. And was it King? No, who? So it's an original Japanese one from '74, right?
so it's going to be
On,
Atlantic.
yeah, exactly, on Atlantic. Sorry, that's a bit. But this thing is,
That's
I don't.
nice.
It hasn't been played. Well, you can see the shine on it, right? It has. It has. I bet you
Not a
it hasn't been
spindle mark
played.
on it.
No, no. Yeah, you're right. No, it has. It has not been played.
That's
So,
awesome because those are DJ records, big
yeah.
time.
So I couldn't leave that one behind, and then yeah, I just didn't look in my Discogs, my own collection, to see. So anyway, I was super happy with that. Most of his stuff in the '70s. I think I've
Got
got
something to
almost all
trade
of his
in.
stuff in the '70s, and that they paid a little bit more, so probably about 17 US for that one. But anyway, if you look online,
That's great.
the Japanese version is probably one of the more expensive ones.
I
This
just have
one,
Spectrum. That's all I have.
have you picked up this reissue yet?
No,
Do you have any of his stuff?
no.
Oh, really? I
I'm
think.
stuck. I'm stuck between 55 and 65 for most of my stuff.
Oh, really? Hit early '70s stuff. It's some of my favorite stuff. This is
Is it pre
actually.
or what is it?
No, it's more how would I call it? Some of it's a little bit more, some of it has some free, some of it has some spiritual jazz, some of it is more funk jazz. It's kind of classic early '70s, I'm gonna say, soul funk influenced jazz, but it's not a funk album not at all.
What's the
But
label?
and he doesn't have. This is on Soul Note, or it was originally on Soul Note, and it was reissued by Ear Gong Records.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is another one that I haven't quite opened up, so I couldn't tell you the quality of it. But I think, all of his other ones. Sam Records has put out a live uh,
I heard
uh,
that's really good.
from '75. I've got that. That's really worth getting. Strata East. He's got. So yeah. If you ever see any of these, Jeff, I highly recommend. But yeah, this one I don't know as much. So this is guys, yeah, 1979. So there's a hype sticker up there. I don't know if you can read it. Yeah, it's a live recording. Who we got here? Everett Hollins. I don't know the band here so much. Fred Hirsch, M. Bicky Spears on bass, Horace Arnold on drums. So yeah, so it could be some.
The
It's
European
probably a.
players.
Uh, well, this was recorded in Italy, so maybe, but it doesn't sound like they're Italian names. So maybe
Yeah,
that
it's
was this kind of touring band, right, in the late 70s. But he's got stuff. I think any of his stuff that you see in the 70s, pick up a copy. They've reissued most of
what
his
to do.
stuff, except for. Let me see if I can find the other one here, Jeff. Just because I'm a big Billy Harper fan, so if I find someone, I
Yeah,
was showing it the other day, actually on Rob's show on Tuesday on the Waxed. Anyway, I can't find it. Here's a couple more. Ooh, sorry.
I see
The
a
other the
see a green prestige label.
the
I'm looking.
other let's see
Ooh,
if
there we
here's
go.
an inner city.
What do you
So
got?
this is did
Oh, look at
did
that.
I imagine that or did someone else show that recently?
Well, I
Maybe on
showed a McIntyre record about 5 minutes ago.
oh, okay. All right.
I want that
So
record because I have another
um
one. It is on Inner City, the first one, which is excellent.
so this is an interesting. What year was yours? Do you remember off the top of your
I'd have
head?
to dig it out. It's late 70s.
Yeah, so this is
Like
a
a quintet.
77. Yeah. So this is a 77. If you can see that Inner City Records, some nice pictures on
It's a
the back there.
steeplechase session, right?
It is. And anything that has, so I don't know McIntyre. Obviously, maybe Jeffrey, you know him more than I do, but anything
Mhm.
with this trumpeter, this Japanese trumpeter, Teru Masahino,
I've heard his name.
um, yeah, anything from the 70s, late 60s
Is that Walter
with,
Davis there?
there's Hino, I don't know the other folks. Um, Harper, Richard Harper, pianist. Alonzo Gardner's on bass. Andy Vega is the
Let's check
Congo.
Walter Davis.
Andre Stroberg. So I don't really know this band much, but I know Hino. And I remember someone showing it online, and it was like 15 Canadian dollars. So that's like $11, and it's hard to find. So I think it's going for, it's not super expensive, but
No,
maybe it's a
I'm buying it.
$40 record, $35, $40 record.
I'm buying
So
anything I can find right now of
yeah,
inner city steeplechase.
yeah, they're all great. And again, you're right. They're not super expensive.
The label you can afford to collect.
Exactly. Good kind of mid to late 70s. Always good, great band.
The one I have, OJ, is Hindsight. That's the name of it.
Hindsight. Okay, I'll keep.
That I
Okay.
just remembered it. Ken
Yeah,
McIntyre, Hindsight. It's really good.
hindsight. Anyway, so but just to finish that up, it's an interesting kind of genre. I was thinking earlier, how am I going to explain this album? It's a little avant-garde. I don't know what is the Ken McIntyre one that you have is, but it's really it's kind of a, it's
It is
difficult to
avant-garde.
explain. It's, it's got a little bit of like a honky tonk almost, but that sounds awful. But it's definitely kind of avant-garde, a little bit of free, a little bit of fusion. Anyway, it's a great album. It's a really, really
Oh
great
yeah,
album. So
he's a top rated player. He's very needs to be talked about more. He doesn't have a lot
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
Very creative.
Here's a couple more. Here's the one that I have not seen around, although people may have. And this is Elvin Jones' New Agenda on
Don't know that
Vanguard.
record.
So yeah, so this is a 1975, and when when artists who've had a good career and they kind of get booted off of labels or move to another label, they often use titles. What did Coltrane do? Transitions or something like that, right? And
Yeah.
so this is Jones's move to a new label in '75. There's the back.
And that's a Vanguard.
On Vanguard again, 75. Yeah, up on 71st West 23rd. Frank Foster is
Ooh,
on this.
Rick Foster's a good
Sorry,
player.
no, hang on. Sorry, let me back that up. Steve Grossman is on reeds, Roland Prince, Dave Williams on bass, but they also have some guest artists, Joe Farrell, who's on a lot
Mhm.
of early 70s CTI. Sorry, yeah, Frank Foster is on here. Kenny Barron, piano,
Ooh,
wonderful
yeah,
pianist.
he's
His stuff
great.
is killer, right? Gene Perlon, piano. I'm not familiar with him.
And Alvin's the man.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting album. Again, it wasn't very expensive. I think I got it
I'll
for like 10 US.
have to look at it. Look for it.
Really cheap. Like this is so great. It's just totally chewing
Yeah,
on.
his
Um,
character.
and it is more you know, a lot of, I don't know if you have a lot of his early 70s stuff, but it's, you know, it's him up front, right?
Mhm.
He's the band leader. This he's definitely in the back. More of a kind of what you would expect for leading into the 76,
Yeah.
77 kind of pre-disco. It's not disco, but there's some good grooves going on in this. So if you're interested in that kind of funk, not disco, but it's definitely kind of jazz funk, and something
Kind of
different
like
from
his 70s Blue
Jones.
Note stuff.
Yeah. So I was surprised. Again, it wasn't a big
I'll find that
investment,
one, OJ. I'll
but
find that one in
yeah,
Detroit.
yeah. I would
He's a Detroit guy.
exactly. It's yeah. I collect. I whenever I see his stuff, I will pick it up. Kind of. Usually don't even look on Discogs. Anyway, and that one was not expensive at all. I saw that when Paul was in town, they had an OG polyrhythms. Do you have the polyrhythms? I think that's 72 on
Mhm.
Blue Note. That one's
It's
really interesting.
Home Poet now too, right?
Is it or a classic? Yeah. Anyway, but it wasn't that expensive. It was like $40 or something. I might go back for it, 40 Canadian. Anyway, one last one, and then I'll turn it over to you.
That's a cool
Um,
record, though.
yeah, yeah, interesting. I've never seen it again.
Oh wow, is that a
Uh,
5 spot?
other folks. So it's a reissue.
Nice.
72. These are kind of, are they hard to find? I haven't seen them around too much.
I
Um,
no, no. Those green label prestiges are a safer buy and a lot of times than the fireworks because of the recycled vinyl issues.
yeah, I think
I really like them.
I think they tend to be really good, right?
Yeah.
With or without stamped. This one, it's funny because the guy who was selling it, again, it's absolutely pristine. It hasn't been played, has not been played. But the label, uh, let me pull it out. It's
That's
a
not that's a real prestige then. That's
no,
not an
it's
OJC.
actually it's a. Oops, sorry, hang on.
Yeah.
That's rubbing against my keyboard there. It's a fantasy record one.
Okay. So it's
See it?
after the set. Yeah.
So now you can't really see it. It's hard to
I
see.
can't see
Anyway,
it. It's blending out,
so
but
when I went and I checked it out on, because the guy who was selling it said, "Oh, it was a 71 or 72," and then I'm like, "Okay," and there's only one 71 copy, and so I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it, good price." But then when I picked it up, brought it home, it's actually not on Discogs, so it's probably a 72. That's kind of when Fantasy bought them out, right?
well, it
So
could be a little later though. So
was
the
wasn't it?
pre OJC, they started reissuing on that label.
Yeah.
I have a there's that Jackie McLean John Jenkins record
Hmm.
with the two saxes and the red cover.
Yeah.
It's not an OJC, but it's on that green label, and it's from like '78,
Mm, from
and it's
78.
a fantasy.
It's not on. I went through all the issues. It's not on Discogs,
You
but
gonna put it
and
on? You gonna put it on?
I haven't listened to it. All these ones I just showed, I haven't listened
Are
to
you gonna
any.
put it up on Discogs?
Yeah, I usually do. Do you do that? Yeah.
No,
I like to contribute.
I
I
don't
like to
contribute to the madness.
and it is madness. It's not easy. It's certainly not easy.
It's
This
a
is
cool
like
find, though. I mean,
it was,
I,
you know what?
I've
You know
I've
where it
never seen
was?
it.
It was. I'll put it in the link, the discussion here. It's called Volver.ca. And I think I did mention it to Paul and a couple other people who come to town, come to Toronto. It's an interesting, when we let off, right? When we started chatting about that kind of online, offline buying in stores or buying online, these guys have kind of an interesting business model where it's just one fellow. I think he used to have a store in Toronto in the West End, and then he's online, but he doesn't ship. So every day at 7 o'clock, he'll post something. He'll update his website. I'm going to check right now. Um, and but if you want them, you got to go and pick them up from literally drive down to his place.
Does he have an
Meet.
actual website, or is he using social
Yeah,
media?
yeah, I know. I dropped it. I dropped it in the discussion list. If you can see that
That
there.
is really cool.
So, but stuff moves. You'd think, huh? I wonder. So basically,
Well,
he's just selling to
for
Toronto
those who
people,
know, right?
or yeah, if you see something, let me know. I'll go pick it up for you. But he usually has a pretty strong, pretty big selection of of jazz and collectible, right? So I tend to keep an eye out. But yeah, so that was the one that I got off of
Yeah, I've never
Volver.
seen it with the orange cover like that.
Yeah. But if people are super high, anyway, let me know if you ever see anything there that you kind of really need. I don't mind picking it up and I can ship it
Because
down
I've been
for you.
holding out. I'm gonna eventually get that from the Analog Productions.
This one?
Yeah,
Or
that's one of the AP Prestige.
for a live show, it sounds
Yeah,
beautiful. It
it's
really does.
extremely
A
well.
friend had this. That's why I picked this up. He had a
Yeah.
copy. The original the cover, I believe, was greener. I think. So this is
Mhm.
the first time it was red. But Booker Little, Mel Waldron, everyone can
Booker
see that.
Little's fiery player.
Yeah, totally awesome. Richard Davis, Eddie Blackwell. So yeah, so that's when I can. So that's the first time I bought off of this guy from Volver.ca. Anyway, do you want to keep on going? Well, why don't I
Yeah,
bounce it back to you? And
yeah, getting into some of the better stuff now. So I got this. This
oh
was
yeah,
the,
that's
beginning of
fabulous.
the story. I told you about the guy with the two milk crates. This
Mm,
was in one of the milk crates.
mm,
So this is Kenny Dorham. This is
look at that.
that
Oh,
1970s
nice. Yeah,
Liberty
I love that label. That's yeah,
RBG.
yeah.
I
Mm,
mean, it is. This was the most
wow.
expensive record I bought there, but I bundled up three records and kind of got a deal on them. But it's got a few marks, but these old Liberties play. You can see there's a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
of marks on it.
Scuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, couldn't pass it up.
That's a very bright, very punchy album, isn't it? I got
Yeah,
the 80 classic. And that's actually one of my favorite classic reissue because it's just so punchy and
yeah. Joe
um,
Henderson's amazing on this.
they're killing it on that. But yeah, to find a did you get the classic version of that or
Yeah,
the
no,
reissue?
I don't have it
Ah,
yet.
that's it. You'll have to tell me what that sounds like. Have you listened to
Sounds
it yet?
really
Or?
good.
Yeah,
But it's
very
not
good.
like those Kevin Gray cuts. It's not, it's that RV, it's Rudy's.
Yeah,
So the bass
yeah,
is, you know,
yeah. Cut.
and then
Yeah.
I found this.
Ooh,
This was only like $20. This is from a different dealer. Again, it's a 70s
nice.
Liberty RBG. Really good shape. So this is what I'm buying. I'm not really going after the OG. This one you can see it's in really good
Mm,
shape.
hmm.
So I particularly like them when they're stamped or Van Gelder. This one's Van Gelder or RBG. But I'm even getting to the point where if I find the black bees and the white bees that are not stamped, I still pick them up if the price is right.
Hmm.
Just because the prices of these things are going crazy, so I'm buying them while I can, because it is a different sound than the classics and the tone poets,
Yeah.
and it's cool. I mean, like this record here. You know this one?
Yeah, Herbie. Yeah. I've never bought it.
This is Inventions and Dimensions,
Okay,
but
that's
they
why. Yeah.
released it as a Willy Bobo.
Speaking of my daughter, she was out. It was her birthday, and I told her to get that album,
Yeah,
the
so
original one. Yeah,
I have
yeah.
the classic, right? because you
Wow.
have to have a classic.
Hmm.
And this is a black bee, but it's not stamped because this is a
Oh,
Manziel, right? When they put this out,
yeah.
but this was in the milk crate next to that Kenny Dorham.
Such an amazing album, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just like,
Beautiful.
and I didn't know what it was. I was like, and the guy explained it to me. And I go, really? I hadn't heard that story.
I know, because I've seen that a whole bunch of times, and I thought it was
Cheap.
like a late 70s reissue or something. This is a long time ago when I really started to kind of collect, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, right? But yeah, good deal.
And then in the second milk crate, I found this. This was my score.
Mm.
Today and tomorrow, McCoy Tyner. This is a second press. So this is where they used the mono cover and stuck the stereo sticker on it. It's got one punch. And it is, oh my God, this thing sounds good. These old Impulses are the best sounding.
Yeah.
Van Gelder and the Dead Wax. I mean, look at this thing. Just
So it's the
an
second
amazing
issue. Sorry, Jeff, what did you say? Did you say it was the second issue? Yeah.
second press, yeah.
Second
So
press.
you can tell it's got the ABC label.
Yeah.
Let me
Very
get it
nice.
to where it's not upside down for you guys.
Yeah. Lovely.
So if you see these, grab them. And that one was sitting there, and I was just like, wow. Some old guy with 2 milk crates. I found those 3 records, and he made a deal. And then finally, I got these 4 from the same dealer. I don't know if you ever seen this one before, but look at that cover.
No, from
So it's
that.
Lynn Winchester. He's a vibes player, and this is
Okay.
I want to say this was a new jazz, but it might have been a prestige. But Frank West is on it, but this is a status. So
Nice.
So I'm sorry, Jazzland, right? No, prestige. So it'd be new jazz, yeah. So really good shape. You can see who's on
Great
it.
shape, yeah.
So it's it's Lynn Westchester on vibes, Frank West on flute, Hank Jones on piano, another Detroit guy, Eddie Jones on bass, and Gus Johnson. So I bought it for the cover alone. Wasn't very expensive, and it was an old prestige. And I'm having pretty good. This is my first Orange Labels status. Sounds pretty good. Then I found this.
I don't think I have any of those. Oh, I've seen that around.
Yeah, the Stinger.
Those are quite collectible now, right? I think it's just pure. Is it just purely for the
These are
cover?
going for on Discogs. It's kind of crazy. I think it's because of the cover. It's like a Green Lantern twist.
What year is that? I've seen that a couple times.
Mid-60s, but it's in great shape.
I mean, yeah, totally. Yeah.
It says Johnny Smith on organ, Houston Pearson on tenor, Earl Edwards on tenor. I don't know him. Floyd Smith on guitar, and John Harris on drums. This is prestige soul jazz record.
Yeah.
But I couldn't say no to that cover. That's what I mean. I go to these shows and I don't have a list, right? I just buy whatever I see and buy stuff like that. Then I found this. This is a first press. This one was not done on. This does not have an OJC. And I can kind of understand why. It's not the best recording, to be honest. But it's, it's Cannonball Live.
What year was that? That live show? No, probably early 70s, right? Or no?
Yeah, this is 60s.
Earlier.
But you can tell where the deep groove is, where it kind of cuts into the microphone.
It's true. People have been talking a lot about the quality of Riverside, and I tend to agree. I find them to be a little flat.
Yeah, the musically though, they were right there with Blue Note. I mean,
yeah,
they really were. And for whatever reason, I see a lot of them in Michigan. I see a lot of Riverside. So a lot more than I do Blue Note. Maybe there's because they're not being collected like the Blue Notes.
I think so. I think so. I did notice that too when I was down in Detroit. Yeah, for sure. Ooh.
And then I got a first
Ah.
press to this.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, second. Maybe this is a second, or maybe it's a first. I have to look it up. I didn't really look it up, but it's in mint shape.
Hmm.
So no need to buy the reissue of this. This is a really cool funk record.
I did see the reissue just on Friday. Yeah.
So that was the Ann Arbor Record Show.
Did you go down to Third Man and collect that mystery?
Make it down. My wife,
No.
my wife fell ill this weekend, and
Yeah.
so I've been kind of at home.
What's
Paul
on your?
got one.
Did he? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
confusing here.
he's
I
the
saw
one
a
who
couple.
kind of put the word out on it.
Oh, was it? Yeah, because I know he's just down the road, right? He works close by. But so what else is going on this summer for you then?
I'm gonna try to. We're kind of talking about going down to the coast, maybe before my daughter goes back to school.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it or not because we're doing some home repair projects, some home improvement projects.
yeah, staying close to home.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm gonna do another tour. I'm gonna be in London for a little while.
okay,
So,
fun.
and actually, my go see my parents are kind of a couple hours from London, but there's a really good record shop in this small town in the middle of nowhere, 2.5 hours from Manchester, 2.5 hours from London, and they have a really good selection of kind of punk and that kind of stuff that you would expect, right? Like ska and stuff like that, reggae, Bowie, that kind of 80s stuff. I've never seen a collection like that. The Jam, you go through their 45 collections, and it's really fun. So for me, that's a little bit of a retro store to go to. Prices are tend to be okay. Small jazz selection, but that's again in my very small little town that my parents live. So
You're gonna have to see what they're charging for UK Cure and UK
oh,
XTC and that kind of stuff.
well, XTC, I still feel like you can still find because they put out so many records. I feel like you can still find those here and there. But the Cure, yeah,
Gone.
that stuff that's up on the wall now in all the London stores, and starting at
Even in the UK, it's
80,
up on the
80.
wall, huh?
Oh yeah, 80 pounds. That's very collectible. The Cure, and also
Hmm.
anything the Smiths. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
the same
they're
here in
12.
town.
Yeah, they're
Smiths
12
or
inches.
Morrissey. Yeah, those two. You're right. Yeah,
The 12 inches are $100 now.
yeah.
I
So
sold them all like 20 years ago. I had them all and I sold them
I've
because
only
I
got
just because I could get like $20 for them each. I was like, wow, $20 for a 12 inch? Sure. I only paid three
yeah.
bucks for it.
Or New Order, some of those are earlier New Orders, or the remixes, the DJ remixes. Those are very
That's
collectible there now. So it's definitely a different market. It's not like a rock market at all.
that's
Not
what I've been buying too, is I've been trying to get of my favorite bands UK presses.
yeah.
So I'm targeting The Cure,
Okay.
XTC, and New Order.
XCC. I love XCC. Do you have
So
any
I have
jazz?
an
Do you have any Jasmine labels? Any of Coltrane's Impulse on Jasmine with a J? No, those are actually, if you see them, they're very good quality wise. So the blue Coltrane one, I've got that on Jasmine. It's excellent. The vinyl is a little flimsy, but it sounds really great. But yeah, so I think the UK, there's still a lot of there's a lot of kind of what you would expect, kind of Brit pop. There's some stores do the whole Beatles, Stones kind of mod stuff, but many of the other stores are really good 80s stuff, 80s punk, 80s pop,
Yeah.
and New Order and all that kind of stuff. So I actually often buy 45s when I'm there because it's also easier to get into the luggage, right? So I'm gonna do that in September, and then I'm gonna head over to Paris for a little bit, and then so the kind of the mystery thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Slovenia, and so I've been checking out the record stores online in Ljubljana, which is the capital of Slovenia. And so I'm kind of interested to. I've been looking online about kind of what former Yugoslav jazz and folk music is about. So I'm sure like the quality of they might. It'll be interesting to see if they have kind of Russian copies, of some
Maybe
rock.
not in Slovenia. If you went to
Yeah,
Serbia, probably.
probably. Yeah, you're right.
You probably see
But
some Austrian and German, Italian, because they're
well,
kind of in the Alps.
yeah, in terms of prices, I did hear that actually, oddly, that the prices of stuff in Serbia, in Slovenia, and the Balkans is really expensive because it's only people who have money that collect records there, because they're quite rare to find the kind of things that you've been showing, that we've been talking about. So that's it. That'll be interesting. So I think I might do a little video and maybe upload that. And see how that
It's
goes.
for the cuisine
I'm
is
not
good.
Yeah, won't be doing too much digging, but yeah, I'll definitely go through the stores in Paris and London and see what's going on there. But I have to say the prices in Paris and London are very high. It's not a great place to go record shopping, I don't think. Except for local stuff. So when I go there, I usually get European, like ECM stuff, ECM new releases. You can get them on discount, like when they go on sale. You can get a nice new ECM for what, like 20 US dollars, 20, yeah, around 20 US dollars on sale. So that's what I tend to do, right? Or so there's a good number of jazz bands and younger jazz bands in London, and so those are nearly impossible to find, in the US and Canada. So that's the kind of stuff I usually buy there, right? So yeah, so that's kind of September, October, I'm gonna say, for me. But yeah, so avoid those super expensive collector jazz record stores that I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I went into a couple when I was out in California too,
Yeah.
so
Um,
it's interesting.
the ones that have everything and charge we know we have it prices.
Yep.
What can you do, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's quarter after 10. I think maybe we'll, even though the numbers just popped up for a second, but I think maybe we'll call it a night. I
Okay.
gotta work. I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah, so do
And
I. We're still cleaning up from the CrowdStrike fiasco.
oh yeah, yeah, we're lucky we avoided a lot of that, actually. The
No
thing that happened
CrowdStrike.
here, did I tell you? Did I tell you what happened here? Is that is that the liquor store of Ontario. It's kind of it's a public system we have, or it has been for a while. It's starting to be slowly privatized, but all the hard liquor, at least, you need to buy from a state store, right? I think it's the same maybe in Pennsylvania, or it has been over the years. Um, and so they went on strike like about two or 3 weeks ago. So
Oh
all the
no, guys.
wine and liquor stores. So the only places you can get booze are from the hipster breweries, and they'll have a refrigerator with kind of, you're not quite sure what the wine is. It's this kind of funky organic wine. So I brought a couple bottles of it back, and we were drinking it last night over a barbecue, and it was like this bloody awful, right? So
Oh,
that's over. So the booze strike is
I'm sure they got what they
is
wanted.
over. Well, I don't
So
know. No,
who are they striking? The government? Their government? It's a government union then?
it's a well, yeah, it's a public sector union, but because it's its own. But part of what's happening here in Toronto and in the province is that they're privatizing it, right? So they want to move them. They want to move the beer and the light drinks, the light mixed drinks into corner stores. So because they're in Detroit, what are they in Michigan? They have kind of licensed liquor stores, right? So
Yeah, I don't think it's too
there's a
hard to get packaged liquor license.
yeah
It's the bars that there's a quota for liquor licenses for restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people, when they want to close their restaurant, if they have a liquor license, that's what sells. It's not really their business.
I honestly thought about like texting Paul and and saying, "Hey, man, can you bring up a bottle of
Well,
something from Detroit?" Like what? Because he was coming up
I'm sure all the
for
liquor
work,
stores
and yeah, I was
2
gonna go.
blocks around the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit were probably getting
Yeah.
picked over from Windsor residents
Oh,
when that was
yeah,
all.
yeah. Can you imagine all the folks doing it, going under the tunnel from Windsor to
Because
Detroit to get some
it's like,
booze?
when it was a big tradition for us when you turned 19, you went
Yeah.
across the bridge.
Yes.
You know,
And we did the same thing when I was younger. I lived up near Ottawa, which is there's a river. It's quite similar. It's a little bit longer of a river than the Detroit River, but it's the river separates Ottawa from Hull, which is in Quebec, and in Quebec the drinking age still is 18. And back in the early 80s, that meant that you could go to a corner store and maybe if you had a little, if you could pass, you could buy booze when you're 16 or something. So
we
we had a
just went
kind of a
to
similar thing.
the Korean grocery stores. They didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Is it still
So
19 in Canada then?
it's 19
Or,
here. It's
or
18. It's still 18 in Quebec. I
it's
think it's 19
provincial?
in it's provincial. Yeah, it's run by the
Yeah, right.
provinces. So I think it's 19 everywhere except for Quebec. But yeah, when I lived in Montreal, there would be a lot of kids coming up from Boston on kind of, university trips to come up and get smashed when they turned
Yeah,
18.
we
So
still have that Puritan streak here in America where,
little bit. But the other thing that's happened here is a lot of pot stores everywhere, right? And so it's I think we started maybe the same time as maybe a couple of the early adopter states, what like Washington State maybe or California. They were
they're
kind of
about 10
early.
years on. Colorado was
Yeah,
the first.
yeah, and I'm gonna say we were about 6 or 7 years, 6 years ago, something
In
like that.
Michigan,
Maybe
I don't remember when Michigan legalized. It was 5, 6 years ago. It was
was
before
it?
the pandemic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, just a little bit after us, but now they're just everywhere in the city of Toronto. You drive around and every neighborhood, no matter what kind of neighborhood, the richest neighborhood to the poorest neighborhood is like pot stores around all around the city. So it's quite interesting. Anyway, but yeah, so that's it for me. Why don't I'll be in touch and we'll do this again another time.
Yeah,
But
maybe we can do a label deep dive because, like I said, I've been buying certain labels. Yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
maybe
lot
like
of cool
just
inner cities.
yeah, let's talk about that. So we got the steeplechase because I got a lot of steeplechase because I was in Sweden for a good 3 months and picked up a lot of steeplechase.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
So steeplechase, I've got a lot more steeplechase than inner city, I'm gonna say. But yeah, let's talk about that. That would be a good topic for sure. Yeah, and I'd be able to drag out a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway,
Yeah,
well, you have a good night. It was great seeing you again and
yeah, it was great
chatting.
hanging out.
All right, take care. We'll talk soon, huh? Take care.
Yep, you bet.
All right,
I'll see
bye
you, my
everyone.
friend.